Ethan Cole had built empires out of nothing, mergers, acquisitions, and deals signed in glass towers that touched the clouds. Yet that evening, sitting in the corner booth of La Belle Maison, he couldn't control one simple thing: waiting. He checked his watch, again. 7:05 p.m. The woman he was supposed to meet was already 5 minutes late. Normally, he'd have left by now. But this wasn't business. It was a favor to his sister, who had been nagging him for months to go out, meet someone, and stop living like a corporate machine. Blind date, she'd said with a grin. She's sweet, smart, and not after your money. Ethan had laughed. Everyone was after something. The waiter hovered politely nearby. Another sparkling water, sir. Ethan nodded, loosening his tie. The restaurant glowed with soft amber light. Couples leaned close, laughing, sharing plates. Across the room, a woman's laughter trilled like a bell, easy, light. He envied that kind of ease. He glanced at the empty chair across from him. Maybe his date had taken one look at his name and Googled him. Maybe she'd decided she wasn't interested in the city's most reclusive billionaire. Fine by him. He pulled out his phone, ready to message his driver, when a small voice interrupted. "Are you Mr. Ethan?" Ethan looked up. A little girl, no older than 6, stood beside the table. Her curls bounced around her round face, and she clutched a tiny purse shaped like a strawberry. Her eyes, bright hazel, stared up at him with the kind of fearless curiosity only a child could have. "Yes, I am," he said slowly. "And who might you be?" She beamed. "I'm Lily. Mommy's sorry she's late." Ethan blinked. "Mommy," she said her boss made her stay late, the girl explained earnestly, climbing onto the chair opposite him without hesitation. "But she said I should tell you not to leave because she really wants to meet you." For a man used to boardrooms and billion-dollar negotiations, Ethan found himself completely disarmed. "Well, thank you, Miss Lily," he said, suppressing a smile. "You've delivered the message quite professionally." Lily grinned proudly. "I'm good at messages. Mommy says I talk too much, but that's okay because words are free." He chuckled. "She sounds wise." The little girl nodded seriously, then peeked at the menu. "Do you think they have spaghetti?" "Mommy says it's not fancy food, but I like noodles more than salads." Ethan laughed, a sound that startled even him. "You know what, I think we can ask." He waved the waiter over, ordered a small plate of spaghetti, and watched Lily chatter about her favorite cartoon, her goldfish named Sparkle, and her dream of becoming a unicorn doctor. By the time the woman arrived, flustered and breathless, Ethan had forgotten he'd been waiting. She was beautiful, not in the sculpted, practiced way of socialites, but in the real, weary way of someone who worked hard and still smiled through it. Her brown hair was loosely tied, tendrils escaping around her face, and her eyes, the same hazel as Lily's, widened when she saw him. "I am so sorry," she said quickly, guiding Lily down from the chair. "I couldn't find a sitter, and my boss, well, he doesn't understand the concept of personal time." "It's all right," Ethan said, standing. "Lily's been keeping me company." She blinked. "Oh no," she said, mortified. "I didn't mean for her to." "Please," Ethan interrupted, smiling. "It's fine. She's delightful." Lily beamed. "See, Mommy, I'm delightful." The woman groaned softly but smiled. "I'm Clara," she said, extending her hand. Ethan. Their hands met, firm but warm, and something in the air shifted. As they sat, Ethan found himself watching the way Clara gently wiped a bit of sauce from Lily's chin, the way she laughed nervously when Lily declared Ethan had fancy eyes. Over dinner, Clara apologized again, explaining that she was a single mother working as an assistant at a publishing house. "The babysitter canceled last minute," she said. "I didn't want to stand you up." "I'm glad you didn't," Ethan admitted. He surprised himself with how much he meant it. They talked about books, travel, coffee, even the chaos of parenting. Lily proudly inserted herself into every topic. Clara's laughter came easier now, and Ethan found himself listening more than he spoke, something he rarely did. When dessert came, Lily was drooping, fighting sleep. Clara started to apologize again, but Ethan shook his head. "Let me help," he said, signaling the waiter for the check. "You've had a long day." Outside, the city lights shimmered on wet pavement. Ethan offered to walk them to their car, but Clara hesitated. "You don't have to," she said softly. "I want to." Lily clung sleepily to her mother's hand. "Mommy, can Mr. Ethan come to breakfast tomorrow?" Clara flushed. "Lily." Ethan smiled. "That depends. Do you serve pancakes?" The little girl nodded solemnly. "With chocolate chips." Then I might have too. They laughed, and for the first time in years, Ethan felt something unfamiliar stir, not the thrill of closing a deal, but the quiet pull of connection. At Clara's old sedan, she turned to him, unsure. Thank you, for being patient. I'm sure this wasn't the evening you expected. He looked at her, truly looked. No, he said quietly. It was better. Her breath caught, and for a moment, neither spoke. Lily broke the silence with a yawn. Mommy, tell Mr. Ethan he can sit with us again. Ethan chuckled. I'd like that, Lily. Clara smiled, small, uncertain, but real. Maybe, we could try again. Properly, just the two of us. I'd like that too, he said. As the car pulled away, Ethan stood under the glow of the street lamp, watching the taillights fade. He realized something. In a life built on transactions and timing, the best moments often came from the unexpected. And sometimes, the most important introductions came not from a business partner, but from a 6-year-old with a strawberry purse and a message that changed everything. Ethan Cole wasn't used to being kept waiting. The billionaire investor had built his empire by making others wait on him, not the other way around. Yet here he was, sitting alone in the most expensive restaurant in the city, glancing at the empty seat across from him. His sister had begged him to try a blind date. You need a real connection, not another business deal, she'd said. He almost left after 15 minutes. Then a tiny voice stopped him. Are you Mr. Ethan? Ethan looked up to find a small girl with bouncing curls and curious hazel eyes staring at him. She clutched a strawberry-shaped purse and smiled. Yes, he said slowly. And who are you? I'm Lily, she said brightly. Mommy's sorry she's late. She said to tell you not to leave. Ethan blinked. Your mommy? Lily nodded solemnly. She said her boss is mean, but she's coming. She said I should tell you so you don't think she forgot. For a man who spent his life around adults who calculated every word, Ethan found the child's honesty refreshing. Message received, he said with a small smile. Lily beamed and climbed onto the empty chair. Do you think they have spaghetti here? He chuckled. I think they might. 15 minutes later, when her mother arrived, breathless and apologetic, Ethan wasn't irritated anymore. I'm so sorry, she said quickly. I couldn't find a sitter. It's all right, Ethan interrupted, standing. Lily's been wonderful company. The woman looked up, startled. Her eyes were the same hazel as her daughter's. I'm Clara, she said, shyly extending her hand. Ethan. Dinner turned into laughter, and conversation turned into connection. Clara was a single mother working as a publishing assistant, juggling bills, bosses, and bedtime stories. She was genuine, unpolished, and utterly unlike anyone Ethan had ever met. By the time they finished dessert, Lily was asleep in her chair. Outside, as Clara carried her daughter toward an old car, she said softly, "Thank you for not walking out." Ethan smiled. "Thank you for showing up." Clara hesitated. "Maybe we could do this again. Properly." He nodded. "I'd like that." As the car pulled away, he realized something unusual. For the first time in years, he wasn't thinking about deals or deadlines. He was thinking about a little girl's message, and the woman who had sent her. Part 2, The Return. 6 months later, Ethan Cole was back at La Belle Maison, the same table, same quiet corner. But this time, there were 3 glasses on the table, not 2. Lily twirled her straw in her orange juice while Ethan and Clara studied the dessert menu. I think, Clara said, trying to sound stern, that someone's had enough sugar today. Lily giggled. But it's a special day. Ethan raised an eyebrow. Is it? The little girl nodded. It's the day Mommy said yes. Clara turned red. Lily. Ethan laughed, the sound warm and unguarded. Well, he said, pretending to ponder, if that's the case, I suppose dessert is in order. The waiter appeared with a grin. By now, they were regulars. Congratulations again, Mr. Cole. Thank you, Ethan said. It still felt surreal. Just 3 days ago, he had proposed in the park where Lily liked to feed ducks. There had been no photographers, no grand gestures, just a ring, a picnic blanket, and a trembling, yes, through tears. Clara's world had changed in quiet ways. She still worked. Ethan insisted she keep her independence, but she no longer worried about rent or losing her job over a sick day. And Ethan's world, it was louder, messier, and filled with drawings on his office walls, bedtime stories, and tiny shoes by the door. Now, watching Clara cut Lily's cake into neat bites, Ethan realized how much life had shifted from sterile perfection to imperfect joy. I used to think success meant control, he said softly. Clara glanced up. And now, he smiled. Now I think it means letting go of everything that doesn't matter. Lily looked up with frosting on her chin. You mean like broccoli? They both laughed. Outside, rain began to fall lightly against the window. Clara reached for his hand, their fingers intertwining naturally. You know, she said quietly, the night we met, I thought you'd be cold. Distant. The papers called you ruthless. Maybe I was, Ethan admitted. But then your daughter marched up and told me her mommy was sorry. Hard to be ruthless after that. Clara laughed softly. Lily's good at breaking walls. She takes after her mother, he said, squeezing her hand. Later that night, as they left the restaurant, Lily skipped between them, holding both their hands. Can we go home now? She asked sleepily. Home, Ethan echoed, smiling at the word. It wasn't his penthouse or her small apartment anymore. It was the cozy townhouse they'd found together, the one with creaky stairs, a garden out back, and space for all three of them. When they reached the car, Lily turned and tugged Ethan's sleeve. Do you remember when you were waiting all alone? He smiled. I do. And then I came to tell you mommy was late. Yes. She grinned. That's when everything started. Ethan knelt, brushing a curl from her face. You're right, Lily. You were the beginning. As Clara buckled her daughter into the seat, she glanced at Ethan, the man who once measured his worth in numbers, now defined by laughter and love. He opened the car door for her, and she whispered, thank you for waiting that night. He smiled. It was the best wait of my life. The car pulled away, city lights blurring around them. Inside, Lily began humming softly, and Clara rested her head on Ethan's shoulder. The billionaire who once had everything finally understood what it meant to have enough. And it all began with a little girl and 5 simple words. Mommy's sorry she's late.